Whenever you're ready, Clem, take it away.
Cool. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard of ChatGPT, the AI chatbot taking the world by storm for its ability to create content for your social media, your website, your blog, anything in the matter of seconds. In fact, ChatGPT is so valuable that Microsoft is investing $10 billion into ChatGPT and its parent company, OpenAI, so that they can incorporate it into Microsoft Office Suite, Bing, and other tools and platforms. But with great power comes great responsibility and a great potential for people to use this technology to flood the internet with flaming piles of AI regurgitated garbage. We're joined here today with digital marketing expert and strategist Dennis Yu to talk about how to use ChatGPT as a useful tool rather than a crutch for your online marketing. Dennis, welcome to the Mad Marketing Mums podcast.
Awesome, Krishla and Clem. Good to hang out.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So
you were gonna
the perks of podcast recording.
I know, right?
So Dennis, tell us a little bit about yourself for our listeners that don't know who you are.
I'm an old-time search engine engineer. I was one of the first people at Yahoo, if you remember, 25 plus years ago, and I've seen a lot of tech come and go. I've seen a lot of hype, and I feel like as an engineer's point of view, especially a search engine engineer, we have a good idea of what actually drives sales, what actually drives leads, and what tools will actually work instead of the latest crypto, ChatGPT, AutoGPT, whatever people are talking about. Ultimately, I believe the internet is just an amplifier of what you already have. And a tool using a tool is still a tool.
Exactly.
Yes, I love that. Oh yes, there's an audio snippet right there. So obviously we're going to be chatting a bit about ChatGPT and other AI technologies, because I think I saw a stat, something like 2,000 new like AI or GPT technologies have been launched in the past 30 days. I think it was something crazy like that. But I guess rewinding a little bit for our listeners who are perhaps, not across this, who maybe don't spend all their time on TikTok like we do, where every second post seems to be about this. Can you give us a bit of a rundown in simple terms, really what these technologies are, and in particular ChatGPT, because that sort of seems to be the most famous one that everyone's talking about?
ChatGPT is GPT 3.5 from the OpenAI Foundation, which was started by Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and all these other guys. Even though they've gotten the most hype recently, there are a lot of other companies that are investing in LLMs, large language models. I think the most powerful one, but the one that has been the most reluctant to share their technology because of fear of, Robert Scoble, Google Glass kinds of incidents, is Google with Bard. And what they have done, we can go into the technology, but basically Google has more infrastructure than anybody else to be able to do these AI models that can talk to you, do research for you, speak as you, deepfake, do all this kind of stuff that is wowing people, where they think it's a science fiction movie where the AI is going to take over the world and kill all the humans and this sort of thing, which is why people freak out. But there's really 5 or 6 major companies that are in this space. Unfortunately, you have to be $1 billion company to play in the space of actually operating an AI, because it literally takes $1 billion of money to be able to train up these models. The math behind, do you know how much it costs to run a query on OpenAI?
A boatload, probably.
Yeah, no idea.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
And so the real play is, for those who really want to geek out like you guys are, is the cost of running these queries is 3 to 4 times that of running search. So whoever has the best advantage in actually running these queries, because the more data it needs to ingest, ChatGPT is up until September 2021, so it's still a couple of years behind. But if it catches up to real time, and we're at GPT-4, which is literally 1 million times more powerful than 3.5 and whatnot, the business model will have to be a subscription model, which is not a search advertiser funded model. And the idea of an LLM, a lot of people don't know that, an LLM, a large language model, generates a response 1 word at a time by predicting what that next most likely word is.
Right.
So it feels like it's sentient. It feels like it's responding intelligently, but really the AI is just generating one word at a time. And the way Google looks at this, so we all understand how to use Google search, right? At least we think we're experts. What Google has done with Bard, which is their AI layer on top of search, is if I do a search, I'm in Salt Lake City tonight, and I'll say, what restaurants do you think I would like the most here in Salt Lake City that are within a 10-minute drive and are open till 10 p.m. and have at least, whatever it is, right? And it'll know. So search can do that now. But what happens is that you can think of the AI bot as doing the searches for you and then writing a singular result. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that it's a layer that's built on top of search. If search wasn't available, then the corpus of knowledge necessary to power the AI wouldn't exist. So it really is a genie in a bottle kind of thing. And I first got access to OpenAI, I think 3 years ago. I'm one of those, 100,000 people every 30 days that's setting up apps. There are a lot of people that are building applications that are vertical specific or functionally specific on top of the AI engine and then claiming that they have all this AI. You probably know about Jasper, called Jarvis before, which is a great marketing tool. There's copy.ai. There's lots of these other tools, but you have to distinguish these tools that people are seeing that do all these crazy things supposedly with the underlying engines that they're all a part of, that they're all just sitting on top of. Just it's basically like reselling someone else's ice cream and then putting another logo on it, but really there's only 4 or 5 flavors of ice cream that are out there, right?
That's so interesting. And it does feel, I don't know, at the moment, it feels a bit like an arms race between these players to be the first to make the next big breakthrough in this technology. I mean, I've heard
Well,
rumors about...
it's Google's game. Everyone
Yeah.
everyone on the inside acknowledges that it's Google's game, even though Microsoft did make that $10 billion investment. So now, you have Bing, the search engine for Microsoft, including these AI components. You saw that there was a moratorium or a supposed petition to have a 6-month moratorium on GPT-4, meaning no more fancy development, which is just another way for Elon Musk to say that he's trying to get in the game and he needs time to catch up.
Yeah.
I knew it. I read the open letter and I remember looking at my husband and he's like, yep, this is the time we hit pause. I'm like, or if you look at everyone who signed, it's everyone who's competing against OpenAI and ChatGPT. We have to take that into account.
First few hundred people to sign that letter.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember which number you are? I think that means something.
You can look it up and see what number I am. It's all listed.
Okay.
And why did you sign it? We're going on a tangent, but tangents are what we're all about here. What was your reasoning behind signing that?
I think there's too much hype. And I think that we need to flush out all these other people that are playing games on just, for example, people have created ChatGPT apps, ChatGPT plugins, claiming that it's ChatGPT, and it's not. They're just putting a layer on top of the actual thing. So I think we need to, I know the way, like Elon Musk, you saw in an interview a couple of years ago, said that the biggest threat to the planet, to mankind, is AI, not nuclear weapons or, whatever, global warming, or I'm not saying any of these, other problems that, cancer that affect mankind's not an issue, but he believes that AI is the most dangerous thing that could kill humanity. And the more I've thought about what he said, even though he says things to be incendiary just to get attention, I believe he's right. Because Hollywood, like all of it, have you ever seen, I'll just ask you this one question. Have you ever seen a movie or TV show where AI is not portrayed as evil? And there's not like one evil mega criminal maniac person who's like trying to kill everybody they all have the same kind of plot. Have you ever seen AI in a good light?
No.
I mean, I know some people, for argument's sake, would probably say WALL-E is one because it's Disney, right? And
Okay.
It is AI. But I mean, I'm going to say the argument, I'm going to be optimistic and say we might not go into the Terminator phase, but we might go into a WALL-E phase where we're all fat. We're floating on hoverboards on a cruise ship in outer space while AI is taking care of cleaning up the planet that we left an absolute mess.
Yeah.
The AI in Disney, however, don't want the humans to realize that they are on a ship and they're fat and on a hoverboard and that no one is actually steering that ship except for AI.
Yeah.
So I would say that they're actually slightly evil in Disney's WALL-E.
You know, we've gone down the Matrix route now. We're plugged
Yeah.
in, you know, it's, yeah. Oh.
I think it's really Idiocracy in WALL-E.
Pardon?
Idiocracy.
Yeah.
An incredible movie, which now is a documentary of life in the Western world.
Yeah, so I mean, we could say for argument's sake that AI is making us stupid, I guess, maybe, in a way. It's our intelligence level is going down because we're getting lazy.
I mean, that's a whole philosophical route we could go down.
Yeah,
but
we could.
from a practical standpoint, I think that technology is a multiplier. So if you're lazy, then technology will make you lazier. If you're evil, it'll make you more evil. It's just like money, right? Have you ever had friends where they, all of a sudden they get rich or whatever it is, and then they become either a-holes or they become really nice people? All it does is magnify who they are. Just like alcohol. Alcohol is not good or bad necessarily. It just makes you more of who you are.
Yeah, interesting. So I guess, all right, my question's two parts, because I think there's something that you slightly touched on in your response to Krishla's initial question, but probably worth our listeners hearing again. ChatGPT doesn't actually use the internet. Doesn't actively use it, correct? All right.
Correct. There are plugins
where
you can feed things from your own sources, your systems, or the internet. Yes.
Yep. Okay. So in a recent LinkedIn post, you said that ChatGPT is unleashing the greatest explosion of digital garbage the world has ever seen. And you've kind of emphasized this already. Can you elaborate on what that is? And are you actually anti-ChatGPT and that sort of AI that we're seeing come out?
I'm never against tools or technology. I believe that technology is like fire. It can burn people. It can cook a great steak. And you can use the internet for good or bad. There's bad things on the internet. When I first started at Yahoo more than 2 decades ago, I saw that 30% of the internet was stuff that I can't tell you what it is, but I think you know what it is. But you can use it for research and you can use it for good. So the fact that right now people are using ChatGPT to build their websites, to send out emails, to do cold calls, to spam more, to generate more content at scale is not that ChatGPT is bad. It's that it's being misused by people because there aren't rules around how to use it. I'm not calling for government regulation, but what I am saying is that there's no penalty yet for using ChatGPT because Google hasn't put in place the rules for penalizing people that are using ChatGPT in a way just to fake out Google to try to rank on a particular keyword or build websites or send out emails. Most people are just using ChatGPT because their marketing sucked to begin with. And now they hope that somehow it magically is going to be made amazing with ChatGPT. And like we said, technology is a multiplier. So if you suck, all it does is multiply how you suck, but it will do it in a more clever way or do it in a way where you're distributed across more channels. So it doesn't solve the underlying strategy issue. ChatGPT doesn't solve strategic issues.
So if it also doesn't use the internet in order to create the responses for you, then I guess for argument's sake as well, if you're using ChatGPT to market your specific product or service and someone else that has a very similar product or service uses ChatGPT as well, the chances of it regurgitating something really, really close in terms of, say, if you both tell them to spit out a strategy is very high.
Oh, it depends on how many other competitors are and what the system has access to and how recent it is and all these other factors. But generally, yes, because the system is not making an ethical distinction. And part of the reason for that petition you saw a couple of weeks ago is that there aren't safeguards on what is, for example, the body of information that ChatGPT is pulling in includes, racist stuff or stuff that was copyrighted. I think they did some research and found something like, 20 million pieces of content that's being used for OpenAI has copyright in it. And then you saw that Microsoft pulled the Twitter data, pulled Twitter integration a couple days ago. And, because Elon Musk said, hey, you've got to pay all this money for the API and Twitter's not democratic and pulling the blue check marks and all that. And then Elon Musk said, well, I'm paraphrasing, well, where's all that information that's coming to power ChatGPT? It's stuff that, because OpenAI is not going to reveal that. It's a lot of information that they didn't get permission to use. So if you don't know what's being fed in the ChatGPT, it could be competitors. It could, I mean, who knows, right? You don't know what kind of output you're going to have if you don't have the input. And so Elon Musk makes a great point there, which allows allows him to stall OpenAI while he builds his own X.com thing that he's doing.
Exactly. Well, and I think there's also the risk of, political manipulation, as we've seen with Cambridge Analytica and some of these other things. If you're feeding ChatGPT enough far right extremist content, then when people start asking about political topics, they could be fed that as an output, if my understanding is correct.
Yeah. Well, think about the regulation and control people have wanted to have over the news feed for Facebook, and how, Facebook engineers fooling with the news feed can control people's emotions. Wow, what a surprise. Same thing for TikTok. Same thing for Google, right? I'm not going to say I'm a conservative or I'm a liberal or whatever, but you can clearly see that there's bias on certain terms. And the government wants to control this, but of course the government introduces a whole nother angle. But who's to say what ChatGPT says, or it's like a level above the government. So we don't know what is accurate, or where do we draw the line on hate speech, or what is factual. There's no fact checking that's occurring there, because there's no, in the words of internet people, there's no canonical, meaning there's no defined set of, this is the truth, this,
this is the source
Krishna.
of truth. Yeah.
This is Dennis. This is factually true that this thing happened or not. All you have with OpenAI is this robot that's basically enough, because you know how search engines work. The first thing they do is they suck all the information, they categorize it, and then they show it to you, which is the 3 steps of what a search engine does. Well, ChatGPT is doing the same thing. It's ingesting all this information, categorizing it, learning it, reading every book and watching every video, and then trying to answer the question as best it can, but it doesn't know there's no assignment of how trustworthy a particular input is. And how would anybody determine that? Google determined it by creating this linking mechanism, this voting on, page rank, and what third-party SEO tools look at in terms of links, like domain rating, and that is like a general measure, a rough measure of how much trust a website has. But ChatGPT doesn't do that, and the organization that could potentially do that in an accurate-ish way, the closest we have, though not perfect, is Google.
Yeah. Yes, and this is the danger, I think, of relying on it for your marketing, is you need that ability to fact check. If you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to get a crap output if you can't fact check it. Because I've gone in there and had a little play and asked it things that I know the answers to, as an Instagram coach and as a digital strategist, and it spits out something that sounds quite credible, but there's the nuances that it's definitely missing, or the application to somebody's actual, their own business or their own circumstances that it just can't do. And I think this is where the garbage content comes from. And I think this leads us really nicely then into our next question. And that is, okay, well, how should we be using it then to kind of avoid some of these pitfalls? So say you want to use this to help with your own business's digital marketing strategy. What's the best way to work with these tools so that you're not putting out utter garbage? Is it about the prompts? Is it about adding that human element? What would you be recommending to people?
Let me give you a short-term and a long-term answer. Short-term is start with the seed of something legitimate. So on my phone, I'm constantly gathering 1-minute videos. As I'm interviewing other people, as I'm learning stuff, I'm trying to feed this system, because I know that the AI is going to pick up on everything I've ever done that's publicly visible to the system. So if you write an article about something, you could have the AI just generate something about your business, about different topics. Let's say that you're a real estate agent in Denver. You can say, should I buy a house now? What are the best parts of Denver? What if I try to buy and sell a home at the same time? What about interest rates? Like all those things, all those topics that are part of PAA, people also ask that your competitors have. You could create what's called synthetic content, meaning the AI just generates all these articles, which you look at and you're like, wow, these are pretty good. It's like a Wikipedia level article, citations, hopefully no hallucinations. Yes, you could do that. But here's what I think you should do in the short run. Start with an ingredient that's real, something that you actually said, a picture of you and someone else, a story of how you landed last night. The flight was an hour and a half delayed, and the train stopped, so you had to take an Uber. I don't know, whatever it is. Like start with a story that ties into the thing that you want to talk about. And if you do that, and then you use the AI to enhance that story, enhance that image, enhance something that you said, and add more paragraphs to it, then you're less likely to get around the things that are going to cause problems. So what is it that causes this explosion of garbage? Well, one, hallucinations, where the AI will make up stuff convincingly, but they're fake sources often, and whatever it is. Two is a lack of information. Three is the bias that you have from not being able to write prompts correctly. A lot of people talk about prompt engineering. I think that's a bunch of BS. People are hyped about that because they think that prompts are some magic way to speak to the AI, and it's not. Proof: Sam Altman, founder of CEO of the OpenAI Foundation. You know what he said? What the number one programming language is? It's going to be by the end of this year.
English.
English.
Yes.
And why did he say that? Because prompts are just an interface between you and the system. So imagine, a lot of us, we use iPhones. The iPhone has dominated the premium market in the Western world because you don't have to learn how to use the iPhone. Babies at 9 months old are using iPads. There's no need to learn the prompting. Anytime there's prompting or an interface or this other manual that you have to go through, is friction between you and the thing that you want. So I think Arthur C. Clarke said that the best technology is invisible. It's you just think it and it does it. And you don't have to learn all these other things. So prompts are they're a necessary intermediate stage. But if you want to use Midjourney or ChatGPT or whatever, you don't need prompts. What you need is a process, and you need to understand very clearly what your goal is. Because you can ask ChatGPT, how would I there's prompts that will write prompts. I saw a friend that he's ingesting all his YouTube videos. Like, you could take this one, right? Take the long form video, interviews, whatnot. And the AI will pull out highlights, turn them into blog posts, chop up snippets, send stuff through to the VAs to be able to do the editing, turn them into ads, build landing pages off of this, determine how the content you've made tie to the products you have, and build funnels for you, and write code. And like, all that stuff is being done systematically, step by step, but it doesn't require prompts. It requires a process where it's very clear the knowledge and relationships you have, what it is you are trying to sell. If you have those two anchor points, everything else in between can be done by the AI. That is true. But you don't need prompts. You don't need a third party. You see right now a lot of vertical tools. So there's tools, there's a ChatGPT for chiropractors. There's a ChatGPT for lawyers. There's a ChatGPT for moms, or whatever it is, which seems to make sense because that's the way, you have a website for moms, you have a website for whatever, you have an app for. But by the end of the year, I could be wrong. People could listen to this and play it back in 2024 and say I'm wrong. But I'm going to make a bet that we will start approaching AGI by early 2024, artificial general intelligence. So there's no need for anything vertical. It's just one AI that you talk to.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
No prompts.
Scary.
So don't waste your money buying lists of prompts from people on the internet. I've seen so many ads for lists of 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 prompts, which
well, imagine this.
don't
Would
waste
you
your
buy
money doing that, right?
Rewind 25 years. Would you buy a list of, the 100 most common search things that you can type into a search engine? Or would you just go ahead and type what you want into a search engine? Do you need a prompt to use a search engine?
No, you need to search,
But
right?
there are operators, right? A lot of people don't know that you can use an in title and a site colon, and you can search for just images and PDFs, and you can search in a certain date range. You can apply those same prompts inside your Gmail to find all kinds of cool things like that. And those are, it's like formulas in Excel. Certainly that's helpful. But would you pay someone $10 for a list of the 100 most interesting functions you could use inside Excel?
No.
No, I just go onto Google and ask.
Yeah. So it's the same is true. Anytime there's a new tool, people will try to sell you the magic secret on how to use the tool.
Yeah.
No. You know what the number one tool is?
Your
It's the
brain.
one between your ears.
Yeah. That tool's
The one that-
often forgotten about, I think.
Yeah.
And when there's a mistake, and we see people will send me their outputs, and I'll look at them, and they're terrible, right? Because they didn't give proper instruction. And they'll claim that there's a bug in the system or whatever, or they need to have the license for GPT-4 instead of 3.5. The results would be better. And I'm like, no. The bug in your code. And I've seen programmers use ChatGPT to write some good code. And they bring that code to me. And I'll say, I know you're trying to blame the tool, but I figured out where the bug is. It's between the computer screen and the chair.
It takes them a minute to figure out what you mean, right?
Yeah.
They're looking around.
Yeah.
Where? Oh, something on my desk? Yeah.
Is it the mouse? It's my keyboard for sure.
Yeah, you are the problem.
Yeah. So you are the man behind the dollar a day strategy, and considering ChatGPT's come into play and stuff, and you are the ads expert, how do you see, what are the dangers of using that ChatGPT with your ads copy? And have you noticed it getting embedded and incorporated within ads copy lately, or not?
ChatGPT is great at writing headlines, at summarizing, at figuring out angles. You can give it the ADA framework. You can tell it to break it down into awareness, consideration, conversion. You can have it, write SEO optimized, meta tags and all this, and write scripts for us to use in 1-minute videos on Facebook and 15-second videos on TikTok. It does all those things very well. It is tangential to dollar a day, because dollar a day is the amplification and testing of content to figure out which one wins. And about 1 in 10 pieces of content will win. That's just kind of the math. It's like the power law. So if I need to, on average, run 30 pieces of content at $1 a day, so spending $7, 1 week for $1 a day per piece of content, and I want to have 3 winners, I'm probably, all else equal, going to need to test 30 items to find those 3 winners. I won't know which ones are going to win, because that's just how it is. You never know. You have to test. So ChatGPT can help me generate those 30 pieces of content faster. It can help make it more likely that my click-through rate on the ad is good. It can help tune the landing page to be more specific, or have multiple landing pages. Maybe I have a general landing page for my product or service, but I have 3 different subtypes. Well, ChatGPT can write a landing page for each of those categories of leads that I'm trying to drive, right? So ChatGPT can help me, but it doesn't replace dollar a day, because ChatGPT, well, I've seen actually people build apps that use ChatGPT to run the ads. But the real AI for the ads, the whole point of dollar a day is we're letting the system do the testing. So Google, Facebook, and TikTok are figuring out what ads are working the best and how to sub-target. And that's a whole nother discussion. But basically, ChatGPT from a marketing standpoint is right now about generating more content, better content, more efficiently. But the optimization of advertising, which is what dollar a day is upon the algorithm, not of what we put in with ChatGPT, but upon how well that content actually performs, and based on the data that Google, Facebook, TikTok, and these other networks actually have. So in some cases, we need to use the AI ourselves to generate stuff, and sometimes the AI is doing the tuning for us. It's like, whose AI is it that's doing the tuning? Advertising is all driven by things that are out of our control, except for content. That's the one thing we control. Everything else, can't touch.
And
Shouldn't touch.
it's often the ad or an image or something that you put out that you don't think is going to work that suddenly takes off, and you're like, why? Yeah. You just don't know, right? So yeah, super interesting. For those listening, we will link to Dennis's dollar a day strategy in the show notes. It's worth taking a look at. There's a lot to kind of, I guess, digest around that. So make sure you go and have a little look if you're not quite sure what we're talking about with that. But basically, as Dennis said, it's really about putting out a whole lot of different advertising options and, spending that small amount to start with, if I'm correct, to test and see what works and tweak and, to really get your marketing working for you, which is, I guess, the strategy for all marketing. Put something out, see how it goes, tweak, refine, report, all of those things together, I think. Yeah, and if ChatGPT can help you with some of the shortcuts in terms of, okay, let's generate a few different versions of those headlines and things like that, then by all means. Okay, so we've had a little bit of a chat about that.
That's answered our next question.
I know, I think so too. Yeah, we've covered off a couple of questions at once. We've got this is a bit of a random one, something that we've spoken about a few times here on the podcast, and that is the word authenticity. Because I think if we're talking about using these AI tools, obviously they're going to have an impact on how you are showing up online, and that authenticity piece. We don't like the word authenticity. It's a bit of an ick. But, I guess we need to perhaps have a bit of a chat about that and how, I guess, if we're relying on these tools, how can we then also be showing up in a way that is authentic or realistic, or letting your actual personality shine through, which we know is really important.
We built an AI bot. It's called an avatar of me. And the video and the audio is so realistic that you can't tell whether it's actually me or not, unless you look really carefully.
Wow.
And I could, for example, be on this podcast and be answering questions, and the people that are watching and listening, they can't tell whether it's actually Dennis or not. I'm telling you it actually is, but then I could be lying. How do you know, right? Just like in the movies, the explosions and the stunts, like, the actors didn't actually jump out of the helicopter or whatever it is, but it's believable, isn't it?
Totally.
So let me ask you this, because some people go into this whole ethical thing about, is it okay to do that or not? Are you tricking people? And is it authentic? Let me ask it this way. Do you ever get automated emails from your favorite company saying, hey, Clem, here's 20% off if you buy by Friday. Clem, thank you for buying this one thing. Hey, Clem, we think the shoes in red you'll like a lot. Do you feel like that's inauthentic?
I think it depends on the degree and the frequency that I get those emails and how well they know me, I guess, as well.
But the majority of the emails that we get from a marketing standpoint are auto-generated, where they're injecting the name and injecting these other sorts of pieces. And we're used to that, so we don't feel like we're being fooled, right? But imagine that you got a video from me, and it said, hey, Krishla, it's so awesome to be on the Marketing Moms podcast. And did you know that today is Monday? And I'm coming from Salt Lake City, and the temperature outside is 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, that would be a little weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So weird.
But imagine if I did it in a way that you couldn't quite tell, then it'd be okay, right? So it's just like the movie Westworld, right? If you can't tell, does it really matter? And I like to say this about this whole authenticity thing, because we're just at the verge of where the AI is so good in, for example, overdub in Descript is my favorite feature. I'm actually on their homepage as a power user of their tools.
I've noticed.
And a lot of AI guys will let me play with their software first, which is really cool. I love that. But I believe that if we're using the AI in a way that is not intentionally trying to deceive people, then people are okay now with technology, because 99% of the stuff, like when you use an iPhone, you have no idea how the thing talks to satellites in space, but you use it anyway. You turn the light on in the morning in the bathroom, you have no idea how that electricity is generated, but you use it anyway, and you're okay with it. Mark Twain said that the key to success is to be authentic. Fake that, and you've got it made.
Oh, so I like that.
Fake it till you make it is pretty much what you're saying.
Oh, I like that. That's a good
I'm
quote.
saying start with your authentic self. Always start with your authentic pictures, videos, images, relationships, stories. Start with that seed. then as all these new tools come on, and it's not going to be ChatGPT necessarily. There's so many tools that are that the most popular tools in 3 months from now will be tools we've never even heard of today. That's going to be true.
I know if they're releasing 2,000 AI tools in 30 days, imagine how many we're going to have by the end of the year. It's just...
Well, Krishna and I have toddlers, and I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were saying, the jobs that our kids are going to have don't exist yet. And we were talking about ChatGPT and the evolution, how quickly AI is going at this point, and we both looked at each other and went, it's a little bit terrifying. But I'm like, I'm going to be optimistic at least and say that they might have some pretty cool jobs out there for our kids at one point.
Well, the jobs we have now didn't exist when we were kids.
No. I mean, Facebook only started, I was in my first year at uni. Like, that was it. It's insane how things have evolved. Well, look, Dennis, we've got one more question for you before we get into some quick fire questions. And then we can wrap up this interview because we know that you've got a big day tomorrow being a keynote speaker at a conference in Salt Lake. If there's one thing that business owners have to always keep in the back of their minds when they're using ChatGPT, what is it?
Oh, one thing, if I have to just choose one, is not to be lazy. Because it's so easy to allow it to continue in a conversational-like way. I find myself doing the same thing. For example, in preparation for my keynote tomorrow, I had the AI say, I asked it, so if you were Dennis Yu and you wanted to absolutely wow the attendees of the Restaurant Marketing Association, what are some of the key statements you'd make and how would you back them up? And it came out with all this great stuff. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. Because it knows who I am. It's ingested the internet. I put enough stuff out there on the internet intentionally over the last 20 years because I knew that one day that this moment would come. And it has. And like you literally can Google and say, what does Dennis Yu say about the $1 strategy?
There was a LinkedIn post that came out. Someone did that about you, didn't they?
Yeah, a lot of it. And people have done deep fakes with it too. But you could go a step further. I'm going to show you 3 or 4 steps further and how to think about it. Another one is say, pretend you're Dennis Yu and I'm having a conversation with you about my business and I'm trying to do this. Now you're Dennis Yu. Now let's role play. And I've tried it and it actually does a better job than me because it remembers thousands of articles, interviews, things that I've said, quotes them, organizes it based on the information about that person's business. And it's like, why would you ever hire Dennis for consulting? Or, Dennis do whatever. Now you go one step further and say, okay, I'm Dennis Yu. You know who I am. Who are 3 people I need to meet that I don't know yet? And it comes back and it says, well, you need to meet this person because here's why you two have something in common. And here's this other person you need to meet. I'm thinking like, yeah, I never really thought about that. Yeah, you really should. You're right. Right? So you're using it not to generate content, which is what most people are doing. This is the dumb explosion of garbage that we're talking about. You're using it to help you think. And the ability for it to help you is contingent upon how much information you've given it. Not the prompts and how you try to trick it into saying certain things about topics, which is what most people are using it for, but on how well it knows you. So the big takeaway is, and I've done this for 20 years, so you can ask ChatGPT about, what's Dennis's favorite place to eat in LA? It'll answer all these kinds of questions. But your success in the next couple of years is largely contingent upon how much you feed the machine now. So I'm one of those believers, you either embrace the technology or you go get a tinfoil hat and go hide in the woods and with no electricity with candles and whatever, okay? But if you it's really one or the other, unfortunately, right? There's no in between. But if you embrace the technology, then you will come to the logical conclusion that you just need to open source your life. Take your knowledge, take your relationships, take everything that's on that phone, upload it to YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and whatnot, because even though ChatGPT doesn't have that information yet because it's only up until September 2021 and only a portion of the internet, I guarantee you, within a year from now, it's going to have all of that. And the tools are going to be so sophisticated with so much wow, Superman superpower and everyone can use it. But the advantage, because you only win when there's an advantage. If everyone else has the same tools to generate the same garbage, then what advantage do you have? To spam just as much as all them? That's what spammers do. They just spam harder, and all the other spammers are spamming harder. I don't want to play that game. I want to win with an advantage. The advantage is that I've intentionally put information out there because I know the different AI tools. Who knows? It could be Bard. Who knows what the different tools are? Like X.com from Elon Musk. Maybe that'll be the winning tool. I don't know. I'm not going to make the bet because it's too risky. Instead, I'm putting all my information out there so that whatever bot is the most powerful one, or if it's a combination of, some people say it's going to be like a toolbox. You'll have a different tool for different things. It's not like there's one bot. Who knows? But I'm putting all my information out there because I want the bot to know me and be able to respond as me and be able to act as me. But if you don't put it out there, it doesn't matter how sophisticated the tools are if the tools don't know who you are. The tools know who my friends are. You could ask the tools, what are the top 5 podcasts that Dennis has been on? And what would you say to 5 podcasts that Dennis hasn't been on to try to get him on to talk about this? Because my goal is to drive sales of this new product that we have, or whatever it is. Like, figure out how to, the system can do that. And that's where Auto GPT and which is a toy, Auto GPT, people are freaking out about it is a toy for many reasons. But the real thing will emerge in the next 6 months.
So there won't be a pause on AI, you don't think?
People are going to pretend, but it's red light, green light, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if there is, they'll be working, the powers that be, and those.
Well, there's going to be no LLM more powerful.
Yeah.
Supposedly nothing more powerful than GPT-4. But remember, there's 2 parts of this ecosystem. There's the underlying engine itself, and then there's all the guys that are interfacing with these engines. This part will never stop. This part will stop temporarily.
So interesting. Oh my gosh. Sarah Connor. I'm just getting Terminator vibes right now. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. And I don't know about you, Clem, but it's making me think differently after this conversation.
Oh, Dennis, you've confirmed so many suspicions that I've had of ChatGPT, the tech, everything that goes on in the background and stuff. Like, I'm not as knowledgeable at how technology and coding works, but I got a rough idea. But the things that you were saying, I'm like, yep. So it's all just humans behind it. And we're doing the same thing that we did 20 years ago and 30 years ago. It's just...
You know who could have the best AI that no one's talked about?
Mm-hmm.
China.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've invested gung-ho, and the most powerful algorithm right now in social media is TikTok.
I love that algorithm.
TikTok does facial recognition.
Mm.
And YouTube and Facebook and those guys don't do that. They prioritize based on engagement rate, watch time, lookalikes. People who watch this also like to watch that. Yeah. They haven't been doing the facial recognition, which is something they don't want to talk about, that TikTok does. But the Chinese government and all these other companies, because they have a head start in spying or whatever you want to call it, could arguably have the most powerful AI that gets unleashed. And some conspiracy people say that TikTok was just an experiment to be able to destabilize the Western economies and see if you could get them hooked on, garbage and whatnot. And you don't believe that? People will consume garbage without being manipulated, right?
Instagram has garbage, Facebook has garbage, LinkedIn even has garbage. Like, there's garbage everywhere. I think they just
it's based on what you put in, right? It's like fat people blaming spoons for obesity, right?
Yeah. It's everyone trying to find a different excuse other than looking at themselves going, I'm part of the problem. It's me. I'm the problem. I don't know.
It's between the screen and the chair, right?
Yeah, and it's just pointing the finger at everyone else before thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't have put that on there. Maybe I shouldn't have put TikTok on my government device. It is, after all, about my job. Like, the phone is supposed to be about my job, not about, my social life.
Right.
Anyway, I think, okay.
They've definitely succeeded in getting us hooked, though. I have to.
Yes.
Hands up here.
Okay. This wasn't in the quick fire questions, but I feel like it needs to be asked then. Do you think TikTok's going to get banned in the US?
No. This has been threatened multiple times with government. It's all about money.
Good.
Again, suspicions confirmed.
I knew this, but when that original ban happened with Donald Trump and whatnot, some executives at TikTok told me, don't worry. It's just politics. They're not going to shut us down. All they need is money.
It's always about the cash.
And Oracle put in the $400 million, and guess what? The ban was lifted.
It's always about the cash. Well, thank you so much, Dennis, for coming on to the podcast. We do have a couple quick fire questions so that we get to know you a little better on a personal level as well. We're gonna do it. And it's just short and sweet answers. So
this is time for the heavy hitting questions. Yeah,
we save those best.
Exactly. What's your favorite spot to get chicken wings?
It's in Chicago. It doesn't exist anymore, but it's in the Midway terminal.
Okay, I know where that is.
Yeah, I forgot it's not the part. I forgot the name of it. It's been such a memory that since it's gone away, I'm so sad. I've burned it out of my memory.
You could ask ChatGPT what it is, maybe.
Illinois Bar and Grill. That's what it was called.
Well, maybe ChatGPT can come up with an alternative spot that's going to be just.
Actually, I found one in Las Vegas that is just about as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell us what it is?
Vegas, I will keep it. If you look at TikTok, I have posted. They have chicken wings and catfish, and they've actually gone viral on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
I think I remember that TikTok because I did. I don't want to say stalk you, but yes, I did find you on TikTok and had a look at some of your ones. And I do remember the one about chicken wings and catfish.
Yeah, I got a tour of the kitchen. I met the folks who founded it. They were from Detroit, and they have. If you're if you really like chicken wings, then the 3-joint chicken wings are huge, and they have to be breaded and fried before you, or when you order them. And there's nothing better than that. No. For chicken wings.
That makes me hungry.
I know. It's like 11 o'clock here in the morning. It's nearly lunchtime. I could go some chicken wings. Awesome.
So I already know the answer to this one, but I think our listeners won't because they might not be familiar with $1 a day just yet. To boost or not to boost posts on Facebook?
Always boost, but use saved audiences of remarketing audiences and lookalikes and your competitors and other kinds of interests and, custom audiences, basically.
Yeah, so don't just boost to everybody.
Yeah, you boost, but you have to pre-make the audiences inside Ads Manager.
Great tip.
Okay.
That's a good one because I think there's been a blanket kind of don't boost as advice given, but it's really about that audience.
No, boosting is fantastic. I've spent $1 billion doing that and driven probably $30 billion in sales. So good luck, competing against that. We've tested this thing.
There you go. You heard it here first. Boost.
Boost with purpose.
Even Facebook's program that they take around the nation and set up all these seminars. You know what the name of that program is?
No.
Something boost.
Boost. Yeah. That big blue button, boost. Yeah. That's what it is.
All right. Now, what is your top tip for parents who are running or own their own businesses?
Double your price. Because you as a busy mom, instead of trying to have twice as many clients or work twice as hard, double your price on your existing clients. And you will work less and you'll work with clients that love you more. If you take a list of all your clients and rank them, there's that bottom half, just fire them. Focus your effort on your best clients and you will be so happy. It's not, you can consume, podcasts, now you can listen to us talking about the latest things and that's great. But you busy moms, to make more money, double your price. You're going to attract a better client. And your existing clients, if they love you, and they do, and if you tell me they do, then double your price.
Love it. Love that. I was just listening to a podcast by Jerisha Hawk. Jerisha Says is her podcast. Love it. Oh my gosh, I've just been binging on her content. And interestingly, she said the same thing in the one that I just happened to listen to. So
thousands of my friends have done that. And they've come back saying, initially I was so scared. I was afraid I'd lose these customers. I'm afraid, you know what? You need to overcome that limiting self-belief. But the thousands that have done this, they've talked about the amazingness on the other side of that. Say, I don't know why I did this before. It's like a self-esteem issue. I felt I would start out low. But it really is my better clients and they love me. And I was afraid they'd fire me or, want to argue. But no, they're like, yeah, I'd love to do more. Like you take your best clients they want to do more with you.
Amazing. And then you can dedicate more time and energy to them if you're not trying to juggle 10 clients. If you go down to 5, you can give them more love, give them more attention. Yeah.
And I think those top clients you don't feel like that they're actually clients at that point as well.
They're friends.
They're friends. They're business friends. They're mom friends. They're the ones
you look
that
forward to
catch up
them,
with.
right?
Yeah.
So all of us, think about the clients that we work with. There's always those ones that are nightmare clients that don't pay, because the less they pay, the more they ask for.
Mm-hmm.
But that very best client is probably the top 1 and 2 clients are probably 20 to 30% of your revenue, if not more. So just try to it's easier to get more out of someone who's paying you a lot than it is to try to get new customers or squeeze more out of people who are already just paying you like $500 a month or whatever. The people who are paying you $5,000 a month will pay you $10,000 a month.
Yeah. Okay. So parents listening, and especially I think we probably have a lot of mums listening, and as women, we often undervalue ourselves. So yeah.
Dennis, what's your favorite country to visit?
I love Singapore. Singapore has the best buffets. They have the cocoon oxygen baths. It's easy to fly into. Singapore Airlines is a great airline. It's a gateway to the rest of Southeast Asia. It's a beautiful nation.
It's amazing. I love it there. Yeah, it's so nice and clean and easy to get around and friendly. The list goes on, right, of positive adjectives.
Easy flights to Australia.
Well, yes.
Yeah. It's only, I think it's a 6-hour flight from Singapore at this point now.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's not bad.
All right, we've got a final question for you, and that is, who are 2 marketers or business owners that we should go and follow today, and why? Who would you recommend?
One is Lauren Tickner, because she understands how to build a $15 million a year business without having to suffer like all kinds of other consultants. And she lives that dream lifestyle that everyone else wishes that they could have. She did $5.5 million last year, and I think $3 million in profit, because she knows how to set up coaching programs, and she travels the world. Every month she's in another city. She lives out of hotels now, high-end hotels.
Nice.
With her boyfriend. And just, mimic what she's doing, because I think a lot of mad marketing moms could learn, or maybe they have limiting beliefs and they don't think that they can charge $50K or $100K for a program, or don't believe they can deliver that kind of value. But Lauren Tickner is absolutely amazing. Number 2 is Mary Henderson. You maybe know Mary. She's the LinkedIn queen, and she helps people monetize their expertise. She's been doing it a long time. She has a structured program. I absolutely adore her. I think we've known each other 7-8 years. And she's one of the few people that's the real deal. She puts all her content out there for free, which I think all of us who have podcasts and shows agree with. Put your content out there for free, because there are going to be people that want to work with you, and they'll pay you a lot. Content for free, but your time costs a lot.
Yes. That's what Todd said as well, I think, when we were chatting with him. So excellent. Yeah. I'll find the links to those to Mary and Lauren, and we'll pop them in the show notes if you want to go and follow along as well. Excellent. Thank you.
And you too as well.
Of course.
And when this goes out and you turn it into a blog post and social media and whatnot, I'm going to promote it to my audience.
Excellent. That would be amazing. Thank you so much, Dennis. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm so pleased that our paths were able to cross like this. I think this is the power of podcasting and these online relationships, right? So
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was really shocked when I sent you that LinkedIn message, and I know that I'm sure you get hundreds of them a day, and the fact that you answered and went, yeah, let's do it, I was like, no wonder Todd has told us that we need to get him on the podcast. He sounds like
Todd is great,
pretty cool guy. But no, I really appreciate you taking the time out to have a chat with us about ChatGPT and get the real scoop on what's going on with that AI program.
That's right. Wait till we have Clem GPT.
Yeah, I think Clem GPT will end up dropping the F-bomb every now and again, so it will be a little bit different, that's for sure. All right, well, thank you so much, Dennis, for coming on.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Krishla, before you stop record, I did realize that I just completely forgot to read out Dennis's bio.
Yeah.
I got it in at the end.
I noticed that too.
It was before the beginning at the end,
You know, so, you know, I did it, and then Krishna's looking at me, and I'm like, no, it's your turn. It's fine. Everything's
I was
fine.
like, it's not my turn yet. So yeah, do you want to record that part?
Yeah, I'm going to record it real quick if that's all right with you, Dennis.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Dennis Yu is the co-author of the #1 best-selling book on Amazon in social media, The Definitive Guide to TikTok Ads. He has spent $1 billion on Facebook ads across his agencies and agencies that he advises. Dennis is the million jobs guy. He's on a mission to create 1 million jobs via hands-on social media training, partnering with universities and professional organizations. He's been featured on CNN, The Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, NPR, and the LA Times. He has worked with Nike, Red Bull, the Golden State Warriors, Ashley Furniture, Quiznos, as well as hundreds of local service businesses like real estate agents and dentists. He's spoken at over 750 conferences in 20 countries and has flown over 6 million miles in the last 30 years to train up young adults and business owners. He speaks for free as long as the organization believes in job creation and covers business class travel. You can find him hiking tall mountains, eating chicken wings, and taking, I cannot pronounce that, cocoon oxygen baths, likely in a city near you.
Amazing. Oxygen baths sound good. I like the sound of this.
I need one right now.
It's about like getting your brain working, isn't it? And making you younger. Is that the do
you know what the #1 organ in the body is that consumes oxygen?
Your skin?
No.
The brain?
The brain. Yeah. #2?
Skin.
The heart. Then the skin. Yeah.
Forget the skin. We've got it wrong.
But when I'm tired, or before I'm about to do a negotiation, or if I just need to feel 10 years younger, just temporarily, you would not believe what happens when the brain gets more oxygen. It's like cheating. Wow. I think all entrepreneurs should get more oxygen they should have an oxygen chamber, a hyperbaric oxygen chamber in their house. They should drink the oxygen water. They should fly to Vegas and other places, do the baths. It really is and it's an amazing hack, just like sleep, right? These are things that instead of working harder, just work fewer hours, but get your brain all the way amped up on oxygen.
Yeah, and
have
take a
plenty of
nap.
sleep.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So just multitasking at its finest would be having a nap in the oxygen tank then.
What I do is I bring my laptop into the hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah, right. And do you find that you're more productive then as you're having the bath? Yeah.
Yeah, I bring friends in to do that. And if you really want to hack the thing, then drink 8 ounces of the oxygen water, go into the hyperbaric chamber with your laptop. So you're still working, doing Zoom calls. People are like, are you like in a space capsule or something? No, I'm in a hyperbaric chamber. Let's continue with our Zoom call. Right. And then right when you get out of this, because when you get out of the hyperbaric chamber, like hyperbaric chambers do this research, all the top athletes and whatever entrepreneurs, they're doing this. But when you get out of the hyperbaric chamber, you lose all those effects within a couple minutes. But you can't live in a hyperbaric chamber, which is the sad thing. So what you do is you jump straight into the oxygen bath, which is a bathtub, which locks in the oxygen level that you just got in your body. So now you have triple oxygen at the same time. And then you can measure it in your tissue to see what your oxygen levels maybe will go from like a 45 to like a 67. It's not the pulse oxygen, not the blood oxygen and the pulse oximeter, but it's your tissue level oxygen. That's what really counts.
Wow. This is completely new. This is so interesting.
This is going to sound like a dumb question. Are you fully clothed during this whole process, or are you like down to your undies or what?
You get your own room when you do the oxygen bath. So because you want maximum contact and absorption, where you have 400 liters of oxygen water just pounding you because it's high pressure. It almost feels like you're in a blanket kind of. So yeah. You want to take your clothes off. But when you're not in the hyperbaric chamber, obviously you just go in like this, because in the hyperbaric chamber, you're breathing the oxygen in. It's a different way of absorbing oxygen.
Yeah, he's not doing the Zoom calls nude.
No, that's what I was picturing. I'm like, wow, you've got a great relationship with your clients, Dennis.
I am, and you could use this as a soundbite. I am doing Zoom calls nude, but I'm turning the camera off. And people say, "Are you in the bathroom? What is that echo?" I'm like, "No, I'm doing an oxygen treatment right now. You should join me. And a lot of clients have flown into Vegas and done the oxygen treatments with me.
Do you charge them? You guys have a meeting in the tank, right? And you charge them while they're doing the oxygen.
This is what he charges double now.
Yeah.
And not only that, clients will spend their own money. They'll fly in, they'll bring their wives or whatnot into Vegas and do the shows, but also stop and do the oxygen baths. You can laugh about it, but once you try it, then tell me what you think.
No, I need to find one now. I think, actually, I have a client who started doing oxygen baths, but not to the level I think that you're doing it. She's just got a tank. So she does the cryotherapy, but then there's another one that's just an oxygen room, almost like a sauna that she sits in, and she says that she loves it.
Got to be careful because those things are flammable, but yeah.
Yeah. Well,
all right. I've just found 3 nearby. There you go.
Cool. Do it.
Exciting. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you again. You've really made me think this morning, Dennis. Thank you so much.
You guys are going to be 10 years younger for 2.5 hours when you do oxygen therapy.
I could use that. That would be lovely. Yes.
Oh, I'm going to have to look one up now.
I know,
Thank you so much, Dennis. I think we can stop.
Yeah, I'll stop the recording.